so glad that you decided to come to another session and talk with me. Today we're going to be talking about how dementia affects your life. Now, we're going to be talking about it more in a holistic way rather than a medical way, but I am going to give you some medical information. And here's the thing. Memory loss can start with strokes, depression, excessive long-term alcohol consumption, infections, hormonal disorders, nutritional deficiencies, brain tumors. My favorite, ingesting THC and smoking marijuana, not using your phone and using your phone and depending on your phone for phone numbers, people's names, being able to set appointments. In the old days, a long time ago in a very far away land, the majority of people happen to have binders where you would write stuff down on calendars, and then that's how you remembered what the days were. And stress has a huge part on loss of memory. I remember one point in my career where I was very stressed and I could not complete a sentence. I was talking to a friend of mine and I was carrying on a conversation in my mind, but I wasn't necessarily carrying on a conversation with that individual. And I thought that I was completing my sentences, but they didn't. So reality is that when you are under a lot of stress, and it takes, you will forget words, you will forget things. So a good diagnosis as far as figuring out whether or not you do have dementia or another type of disease is very, very important, because once you put a label on something, people have a tendency to react strongly emotionally to that. That's the reason why we now have socially appropriate names for certain disabilities. But one of the things that we need to understand about dementia is that it's a memory problem, and it's remembering recent events. And it is a situation where there's more confusion around what the certain circumstances are and who people are, and failure to be able to concentrate. Then there might be personality or behavioral changes. And these are real important indicators of dementia. Yes, a stroke is definitely going to give you a behavioral change because it may limit the use of certain parts of your body. There's also depression. Well, depression comes when you have strokes. Depression comes when you are stressed a lot. So we need to be able to understand that there are daily tasks that we go through, and even if we're stressed, we will be able to get through them. We don't necessarily have language problems. If you have a stroke, you'll have a language problem. But there's also disorientation, where they're not sure where they are or why they're there. Well, again, certain types of recreational drugs will definitely do that to you. But one of them that's really important is just poor judgment. And what that means is that you have a tendency to not wear the proper clothing, that you turn on the stove and walk away. You turn on the faucet in the bathtub or in the shower and walk away, and it goes crazy. Another thing is that you have different poor spatial skills. And what that means in English is that you can't determine distances for driving, so that you immediately arrive at the place where you want to turn and you're screeching on the brakes in order to make that turn. Or you're trying to fit 10 pounds of stuff in a 5-pound bag. A lot of it is just misplacing things. We talked about that in past videos. One of my techniques that I use when I am placing an object down is I want to be totally focused and be present when I do that. And I tell that object, my car keys, my wallet, my phone, stay. And would you believe it stays right there? I'm just fascinated by this. Really, the idea is that if you want to have good memory, then you have to be present when you're doing stuff. You can't be doing other things. So coming in a hurry and throwing your keys down won't work. So what are the consequences of dementia? Well, with depression and not trusting other individuals, this really becomes hard. When you have communication issues because you're forgetting words or you can't put together sentences, that definitely is going to be a game changer. One of the other things is that if you can't have a relationship with a person with dementia because it's too far gone, that definitely will kill the bedroom, will kill any type of intimacy, because if it is a female, they're going to say, well, you know, I don't know who you are, and I'm maybe sexually attracted to you, but, you know, I'm not really excited. And on the other side, for a male, if they're depressed, or they just are forgetful, or they are not engaged in the conversation, the chances of them being sexually excited is probably pretty low. So one of the things that we do need is to start monitoring these things and writing them down. Put them in your phone, and what will happen is that you will then be able to at least track this and get the facts, because the facts are far more important. The other thing is that when I talk about dementia, there is a couple of articles out, and that's the reason why I'm doing this live, is that there are 30-year-olds that are starting to show early signs of dementia, and that's because they're not using or stimulating their brain. So the cure for it is, of course, to be able to have therapy, either Reiki therapy or Kabbalah therapy. You need to stay active physically. You need to have your mind stimulated by reading or doing crossword puzzles or Sudoku or any number of games that help your mind. Do math problems. But we also have to remember to eat right. So go ahead, make your comment. If you happen to object to some of the things I'm saying or have even more insight, go ahead and comment. I'd love to hear from you. And if you do need support in the area of dementia, early dementia, extended, for depression, I'm available for Reiki healing. You let me know. You have a great day.